Hi everybody, welcome to my newest Age of Wonders 3 Draconian Necromancer strategy series, where I create a special set of challenges to make it pretty difficult on me to win. So what we'll be doing for this map is we'll have 6 total players, Emperor level difficulty, large map size, land, and we like the land map type because it's a little easier for the AI to navigate. Water tends to make them move slower. Game flow normal. When we go to advanced settings, again, for a large land, 6 players, surface and underground, to make it harder for me to take control of choke points, harder for me to defend against all the AIs I'll be facing. Village starting town, weak starting units just to make it harder on myself at the beginning of the game, and starting distance for the opponents far to give them time to snowball. AI can have trouble with roaming units when they take over AI cities and slow them down, so we put those to the lowest possible, which is few. Few treasure sites hurts me. Cities many allows them to capture a bunch and snowball. Average, average, average. Again, treasure structures tends to be better used by humans, so we set that to few. Geography is standard. For this, teams, so 5 Emperor level AIs versus myself. And for this, we chose 5 rather than 6 or 7 opponents, which I've done in past videos, because if you have too many, they crowd each other and they can't snowball because they're fighting over resources. Classic turns, so I can't do any cheesing with the simultaneous turns like you'll see some players do. I'm going to select the leaders so that I can select opponents who are very good counters to the Draconian Necromancer that I'll be playing. And I'll choose specific leaders that tend to have specializations that can make my life difficult. For this, normal, standard, normal, never, so no cheesing with that. Defender strength, normal. I've played games where I've done strong and very strong, but this really slows down the AI. And while it's fun to be able to try to attack independence and treasure structures that have strong defenders, and in fact that can be very useful for me as a necromancer because there's more tier 3, tier 4 units for me to ghoul, the AI have a lot of trouble with this, and we want the AI to snowball because they're going to be the true enemies. They're going to be the true threat to me, and so they need to be provided with every tool possible to get strong. Cosmic happenings we can keep on default. Number of heroes we'll set to 10 so that the AI can get as many heroes as they want, but I'm not going to allow myself to recruit any heroes after the first, because when you play Draconian Necromancer, you start with your leader, who's Draconian Necromancer, and then you'll be off your first hero offering on turn 1 will also be a Necromancer of some race. And so I will take that one because it would be quite difficult to win if I only had one Necromancer the entire game, because ghouling is the whole point of playing a Necromancer. That's how you build your armies, not by building them in your cities generally. So I will limit myself to my starting leader and my first hero. After that, I will always decline heroes. And I will never attack them for experience or anything like that. But the AI are welcome to recruit as much as they want. Again, since I will have few heroes, I'm going to cap myself out at 15, which is pretty standard, because if it got higher, I'd be able to make them pretty impervious, but I want to make it harder on myself. And the AI tend to have trouble getting beyond level 7 or level 9. So setting this higher doesn't really tend to benefit them at all. It would just benefit me, so I'm going to cap myself out here. No city founding, because AIs suck at it. Humans can be good at it, so I'm going to deprive myself of the privilege. That way I can't take advantage of this in a way that AIs can't. Empire quests, sure. So we apply that. So this all looks good, right? Yeah. So let's launch. In terms of heroes, the guy that you've seen me play with historically, if you've watched my other videos, Destruction Adept and Master, and then Shadowborn Adept. And you'll see why this is my favorite combination if you read my Steam guide on using Draconian Necromancer. It's an extremely in-depth guide on how to use this race class combination to consistently beat high-powered teams of allied Emperor level AI. I go into a lot of detail on everything from troop movements and building and strategy, just everything. Very extensive. And I provide, if you've seen my other video series, I provide several links in that guide to various YouTube playlists where I have playthroughs or recaps of where I've used this race class combination to beat allied Emperor AIs in pretty short order. Okay, so this will be me. Now I have the opportunity to pick my opponents. After doing some research online and seeing what folks are saying in the forums, I think some of the strongest opponents I could face who will make my life miserable, because again, if you're a necromancer, you are susceptible to spirit and fire damage, right? So we want to select opponents of mine who class or race-wise deal that sort of damage and have specializations that can be difficult for undead units, that can make my life difficult. So a lot of fire, creation, possibly water, stuff like that. And I will set the starting position of these folks to kind of put them in their best element. So first, Sorcerer Draconian will be my first opponent. So let's pick Sorcerer. I don't have any of the AIs be Necro because AI is not good at ghouling effectively. So they're kind of a pushover. But we will select one Rogue, one Sorcerer, one Warlord, one Theocrat, and one Dreadnought, as those are probably the toughest units. Archdruid with a lot of poison damage. I'm immune to poison as a Necromancer, so not very challenging. So let's start with Sorcerer. Draconian is a world-class pairing with Sorcerer. So we'll go with Karashar, who also deals fire damage, which will make my life difficult. We'll force them surface, since they will do better on surface than underground. So that's opponent 1. Opponent 2 will be a Theocrat human. Pretty solid combination. So, Theocrat human. Has some creation adept. Is there a more difficult Theocrat human? No, this will be good. So we'll have Theocrat human be the next person I face off against. The third will be a Rogue Tigran. Oh, by the way, I need to. Oh shoot! I forgot to force that second guy above surface. So we'll redo this real fast. That's me. And then Sorcerer. Okay. Surface, just to make sure. All right. I'll be sure to select it properly this time. So, Theocrat. Probably just do this, make it faster. Yeah. For surface. That's the second of 5. The third of 5 will be Rogue Tigran, who will be forced underground. Rogue Tigran. Let's see, water or fire? I played a Shaka last time. Water with the rot can be pretty annoying, so we'll have them do that. And Tigrans do well underground, so we'll put them underground. fourth will be a Warlord High Elf, which is very annoying to deal with that stun. The alternative is Orc Warlord. Which hits like a brick. And maybe, since I deal a lot of blight damage, we don't want to have one of my opponents be High Elf since they're susceptible to blight. So, yeah, you know what? We'll stick with this. Ooh, double fire. That will be annoying for me to deal with. So that will be the fourth, and they will be forced surface. And then fifth is Dreadnought Dwarf, a classic no-brainer combination. That is very beefy and difficult for me to deal with. So do we want spirit or fire? We've had several folks be fire, so we'll have some creation, damage dealing, and dwarves will do well underground, so that way we have 3 above ground, 2 below ground in total. So this is our fifth and final opponent. So, and it's a diverse array of opponents that I will have to deal with. So it is creating the map, and again, this first episode is just an episode for the setup. So you can see all of the settings, see my starting location, and then I'll cut the episode after we load up on the map, and then each episode after this will be on a turn-by-turn basis. And I forgot to mention the best part of this one is that you may have seen my recent video series where I delayed 20 turns. So I sat in my base with my starting army and did nothing for the first 20 turns of the game to give my AI opponents a really strong head start. And I was able to pull out the victory. There was a lot of really fun late game, high powered battles. But I'm going to push myself even farther. I'm going to double it. So this game, I am going to delay 40 turns before I allow myself to leave my base. And so I'll say a little bit more about the kind of rule set that I'm going to impose upon myself for this. Oh, and I hate these middle of the map starts too. I much prefer to be in a corner so I can move cleanly towards the other side. So this will also be an added challenge and will make me run into them sooner, most likely. So we'll see if I can do this. So what will be the rules for this? The first rule is, again, I'm going to accept halfling, yuck. I will accept my first hero offering, and then after that I'm accepting no other heroes. So I will accept this, and I will put them all in my base. So I'm going to sit here in my base, and I'm just going to cycle through turns until this says turn 40. And on turn 40, I will be allowed to leave my base and start doing my thing. So it's going to be pretty challenging. I am, of course, accruing knowledge. And so I will allow myself to research things along the way. And will, be intentionally selecting stuff because I can't stop that from happening. What else? If I'm attacked, because an independent runs into the city, I will defend myself. So I will manage that battle. But after I win it, I will stay put. So it's just kind of keeping myself here. I will not build any buildings. So I'm going to keep this on produce merchandise for the first 40 turns. So I will be building no infrastructure at all. My borders will, of course, naturally expand quite slowly over time. I won't do any summoning, so I'm not going to take advantage of these points to say, start summoning banshees or whatever. I'm going to do nothing with my casting points. Race governance level ups may happen over time. You can't go to the next turn without choosing something, so I'll accept those as needed, but I think that covers everything. So it's basically doing as little as humanly possible, staying put to really put myself at a disadvantage. I really don't know if I can pull this off, but I am going to try, giving them a 40-turn head start. So this has been the setup episode, episode 1, and in episode 2, I will cycle through from turn 1 to turn 40. And I may, depending on how long it is, hopefully not too terribly long, it might depends on how much I'm attacked probably, and how long the turnover is. Hopefully that will be the entirety of episode 2, is getting to turn 40. It's going to be a boring episode. Normally I wouldn't post it to YouTube, but I want to provide proof that there's no shenanigans between turn 1 and turn 40. I want to have video proof that if you care, it's going to be boring as hell to watch, but you can see that I do nothing. And so most of you will want to zoom ahead to the subsequent episode, which I'll kind of, in the title, in this playlist, the title of that video, it will be clear which one is turn 40, where I actually start to get rolling. So you may want to skip the boring videos in favor of when I actually get rolling and provide commentary and that sort of thing. But I'm posting it all for proof. Okay, and if my heroes level up from defending themselves, I will not invest in any skills. I won't spend those upgrade points. I'm going to wait on those until turn 40 when I can cash in on them. So that's also another parameter. So look forward to seeing you in the next episode. I don't know if anybody's posted something like this, where they intentionally handicap themselves like this on YouTube yet. So hopefully this will be some interesting content for folks, and really have a good challenge to try and show off some of my skill. So see you in the next episode.